so this is 8-4 rational expressions, and in fact, this is when it starts to get fun. I adore this. I love it. Our learning objective is to simplify, multiply, and divide rational expressions. So we have 3 things that we want to accomplish. One thing that I noticed that you guys may need to remember as we're going through this, I want you to just take a moment, visualize yourself in the 5th grade, all the way back when you were dividing fractions. And please remember, you can rewrite dividing by a fraction as multiplying by a reciprocal. And in case you don't remember, it's like this. 1/2 divided by 1/4. You can rewrite that as 1/2 times 4/1. So you can rewrite dividing by a fraction as multiplying by its reciprocal. So please recall that. So when it asks you to put the rational expression in simplest form, it really wants you to have the numerator and the denominator as polynomials that have no common divisors, which in my tiny math brain says, if I factor the top and the bottom of a rational expression, I should cancel out the factors that they have in common. All right, so we're doing 2 things. The first thing in our learning objective is to simplify rational exponents, so that's what I'm going to show you here. What is x squared plus 7x plus 10 divided by x squared minus 3x minus 10 in simplest form? State any restrictions on the variable. All right, so the first thing we want to do is factor this numerator. And we want to say which 2 numbers add to give you 7 and multiply to give you 10. So I would say that would be 5 and 2. And then for the denominator, we want to find 2 numbers that multiply to give you -10 and add to give you -3. Well, I would say that would be -5 and +2. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to set our restrictions first. Before we simplify, I want to set restrictions. So anything in our denominator that makes the denominator 0, we need to call it out by, we promise we won't make this denominator 0. So the restrictions on this, x cannot equal what? What's going to?
0.
X can equal 0 because 0 minus 5 is -5 and 0 plus 2 is 2. Yeah, so x can't equal 5 and x cannot equal -2. We got to call it out. So our restrictions are taken care of. Now we can cancel. So I have, please, my lovelies, I cannot cancel. I can go, oh yeah, I'm going to cancel these x's. That's not allowed. Anything in parentheses has to be exactly like the parentheses on the bottom. So it has to be exact matchers when you're doing multiplication. So I can say x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is going to be 1. So then I can rewrite this as x plus 5 over x minus 5. And then I'm in simplest form. So my numerator and denominator are polynomials that have no common divisors. Check. I'm in simplest form. All right, so this problem the next one here doesn't have any adding or subtracting, so we can crazy cancel. No harm, no foul. So let's do the numbers first. What is 24 divided by, actually, let's divvy it up. 24 over negative 6, x to the third over x squared, y squared over y to the third. What are my restrictions? Let's state that before we get all cray. Let's state the restrictions first. Because if we cancel and things go away, then we forget to make the restrictions. So in this case, x can't equal 0, because that's going to make my denominator 0. Y can also not equal 0. All right, now let's get crazy and cancel these things out. 24 divided by negative 6 is negative 4. Here, when we divide our bases, we subtract our exponents. So I get x to the 3 minus 2, that's the same as x to the 1. And then, simplest form, we want to keep our y value with a positive exponent. How do I write y to the negative 1 with a positive exponent? Yeah, so it would go 1 over y or negative 4x over y. All right, so that's the simplifying part. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply and divide and hang out with our learning objective. All right, so we're going to use our simplest form to find the product. The first thing we have to do before we do anything is state the restrictions. So let's factor, and there's a lot of good factoring to do here. So my first one, looking at this guy, 2x minus 8, they have a 2 in common. When I take the 2 out, I have an x minus 4. X squared minus 16 is a difference of squares. What number multiplies to give you 16? What two numbers multiply to give you negative 16 and add to give you 0? Yeah, negative 4 and 4. Okay, we're going to times that by this guy factored. 4 and 1. And then the bottom one factored. 4. Okay, so now that we have it all factored lovely, let's state our restrictions. So x can't equal what?
Positive 1 and negative 1.
Yeah, plus or minus 4. That makes our denominator 0. And we have, when we get to division, it puts even more restrictions on our problem. All right, so now let's cancel. We're going to cancel stuff. It's going to be awesome. This plus 4 and this plus 4 are gone. This minus 4, this minus 4 are gone. I am now left with
couldn't you just do the 2x plus 4? Couldn't you just do, or I mean, the top left one, x minus 4. Couldn't you just put x minus 4, x minus 4? That's right.
All right, so this is our answer in simplest form. Does it make your brain a little bit crazy that it's not one nice solid number? It's okay, you just gotta let that go. It's gonna be 2 polynomials, one on top, one on the bottom. Simplifiable is gonna be our answer. All right, so now here's where we go back to that. Remember when we divide by fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. But before we do that, I want to put everything in factored form. And you know this is my favorite part. I love factoring. So x squared plus 5x plus 4 is the same as x plus 4 times x plus 1. X squared plus x minus 12. Two numbers that multiply to give you negative 12 and add to give you 1.
4 negative 3.
Yeah, good job. That's going to be divided by x plus 1, x minus 1, divided by, let's take the 2x out, and we get x minus 3. Whew. Okay, so before we move on to the next step, we're going to fuss with our restrictions. So x cannot equal negative 4. It cannot equal positive 3. It also cannot equal 0. All those things would make the denominator 0. Now we're going to apply that fraction rule. And we're going to flip the second fraction and make it into multiplication. So I'm going to rewrite this guy just as it stands, x plus 4, x plus 1, x plus 4, x minus 3, times, and I'm going to flip these guys. So 2x times x minus 3, x plus 1, x minus 1. Now we're gonna we're gonna cancel things out. It's gonna be sweet. Been waiting all day for this. Plus x plus 4, x plus 4. X minus 3, x minus 3. X plus 1, x plus 1. Boom, 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 boom. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Until we're left with just a 2x on the top and x minus 1 on the bottom.
I watched one.
Now, before I get all crazy and call this good, I have to account for the restrictions that happened when we were flipping our division. Do I have x cannot equal negative 1 and x cannot equal positive 1? Because once I do that flipping, now this is the new denominator, and I need to add those restrictions. So we'll put that here. X cannot equal plus or minus 1. I got all excited. I just want to cancel stuff out. But we have to make sure we include our restrictions when we flip. And that is all the information you need to be successful on 8-4. If you need help, there is another word problem, but you use the same skills as we did here to solve those word problems.